Hello, everyone. I'm Anilasha Varki, Senior Program Agile Coach at Avalara, and thank you for joining me in today. Welcome to my home office here in Scotland. I have worked as an Agile coach in various industries for nearly 10 years now. We all know Agile has been here for a long time. It's been used by so many companies around the world. Even within Avalara, we adopted Agile a good few years back, but we are now looking at taking our teams to the next level on the Agile maturity ladder, to Agile 2.0. And that's why I want to talk about the heart of Agile, because it mirrors our software development lifecycle, and it is so complementary to our operating model. So let me first talk about the heart of Agile. It was a movement started by Dr. Alistair Cockburn. Some of you must have heard about him. He's one of the authors of the Agile Manifesto, and he wanted to simplify agility, bring the focus back to the core. So heart of Agile is only 4 words long: collaborate, deliver, reflect, and improve. As simple as that. But let me clarify, it's not a framework like Scrum or Kanban. It's more like a compass to decide in which direction to advance our conversations. So let me talk about all of these 4 points very quickly. First is collaborate. You all already know how to collaborate. It's a lot down to our attitudes. By having the right frameworks, do encourage it. Now, thinking about collaboration, I want to share a story from my previous company. I used to work for a company called Optos, which is a medical device company. They develop both hardware and software, and the company adopted Agile, and the software teams were delivering releases incrementally. But they still were facing with low customer satisfaction and constant integration issues reported from the field. They knew they had to revisit their operating model. So they decided to scale Agile to all functions of the company. Yes, you heard me right. Agile is not just for software. They started to get all functions: manufacturing, regulatory, hardware teams, optics, mechanics, software teams. They all started coming together to plan every quarter. And they started to get inputs from their partners and customers at regular intervals so that they could bring this input to their planning cycle. They started doing weekly syncs, following the same cadence, starting and stopping the sprint at the same time, doing deployments and integrations at the same cadence, even doing retrospectives at the same time. Basically, they established a very mature DevOps model. And in a year's time, they saw massive improvements. The number of issues reported from the field went really down. Their customer quality improved. This was the result of the effective collaboration that happened across the enterprise. So you can see what benefits effective collaboration can bring. And it's important that we don't limit this to just the development teams. We need to scale Agile to all functions of the enterprise, include our partners, include our customers in this journey. Where an organization stands today is a result of that effective collaboration on scale. The next point is about delivering small and soon. Agile doesn't mean twice the work in half the time. Nobody works faster. So we need to understand, with the same people and in the same amount of time, how can we deliver more value? What brings most value to the business and to the customers? Now imagine you are a chef. You would like your recipes to be tried by your friends, right? You would like have your recipes to be refined, and that's an incremental and iterative approach. You would try and make a small quantity, tried it with your friends, get the feedback, and adapt. And you would do that repeatedly, over and over again, until you get better and better. Chefs know that they need to produce a quality product in a time box. And that's the concept. we need desperately in our teams. We need to also be able to produce that quality product in that fixed time box. And we need to include that feedback from our customers, from our partners, so that we can incorporate the learning. And we do it over and over again to get better and better. And in this process, we're all learning and we are all finding mistakes, but early in the cycle. Think about Tesla cars. Tesla doesn't update all of its vehicles at once. It rolls out updates to its fleet based on vehicle's region, model, hardware, and other factors. They roll out update in this manner to minimize the risk and assess how the update is performing. Rolling out slowly lets it iterate on their update. They take the feedback and this helps them to prevent any potential issue being rolled out to all their vehicles. And in this process, everyone's learning. The customers, the teams, the organization. There's business learning because the organization is learning what brings most value to the customers and to the company. There's social learning where teams are learning to work together with each other. There's technical learning, what frameworks, what tools, what infrastructure can make our products more competitive and more effective in the market. And finally, cost and schedule. The company is learning how quickly can we deliver in the market based on our historical trends, based on the capacity that we have got. And also the cost element. The company learns what brings most revenue to the market, to the company. The third point is about reflection, and it's an important one. When I worked at Jaguar Land Rover, and most of you probably know about them, they're UK's largest automotive manufacturer. The Land Rover Defender is one of their advanced vehicles, but they give massive credit for the success of that to their reflection journey. You know, the constant regular workshops that they had with their partners from all across the world, from the UK to Canada to the US. And the questions they cover as part of that journey is, what do we need to achieve? Where do we want to be tomorrow? Where do we stand today? And most importantly, what steps do we need to take to get there? The world is volatile. There is so much uncertainty in the world that even if you guessed at the start, by the time you get to deliver it, the world would have changed. So it's important that we adapt and we move faster. And in this process, we need to work with our partners and our customers so we can understand if the business value has been delivered. Have we missed anything, or has it gone really well? The last point is about improving, constantly improving. One of the key traits of high-performing teams is that they identify and solve problems together. There's a safe environment for them to implement the changes, and teams who do this, they see benefits of better quality and responsiveness. And it's important that we incorporate all the feedback that we get from our partners and customers, so we're making improvements in the right direction. For decades, long development cycles have been the standard in the medical industry. But COVID-19 taught us a big lesson. When it hit us in January 2020, the healthcare companies were nothing short of miracle workers. Many of these companies pushed aside their multi-year development initiatives and other high big priority projects to focus on battling the pandemic. You know, the test kits were delivered and, implemented in a matter of weeks. And how did they do this? It wasn't always this way. Prior to the pandemic, the companies had managed to implement the innovation through a long multi-year stage gate development process, but it wasn't a match for the uncertainty and the urgency that the pandemic had. The product development approach ended up incorporating a new cycle of learning. But when the emergency fades, people start drifting back to the traditional waterfall approaches to innovation and reverting back to business as usual. They miss out the chance of continuously boosting their speed to market and accelerating ahead of the competition. And when the next crisis happens, the organization would have to undergo the painstaking process of shifting its operations and also changing people's mindset all over again. So why not maintain the agile approaches, right? Now, these were all the 4 points of the heart of agile. And there are lots of frameworks adopted globally, but I want to briefly touch upon the most popular framework, the one that we adopted within Avalara, Scrum, because its core values so closely relate to the heart of agile. But why do teams and companies go down the route of adopting Scrum? The simple answer to that is that this process has evolved for over 40 years to be most productive and sustainable framework for team-based software development. Scrum is easy to understand, but it's difficult to master. It's not just about doing ceremonies. Teams need to live the agile mindset. Just like a rugby team, Scrum relies on team engagement, alignment, and ownership. By team engagement, we mean every team member must be fully bought in, fully committed to the goal. Imagine in a rugby team, if one of the members wasn't committed to that goal, do you think that team would win? Now, second point about team alignment on realistic goal. Everyone must be aligned on that same goal. Doesn't matter in which directions they're working, they all need to be focused on the same thing to get that productivity. And finally, team ownership. Every member takes personal responsibility for the success of their project. Every member should own those development practices. And if a team member fails for whatever reason, other members fill in that gap. In a team, in a Scrum, team members are always supported by their friends. They never let them fail. And that's what makes a high-performing team. Scrum implements an empirical process, and by empiricism, we mean working in a fact-based, evidence-based manner. In Scrum, the progress is based on observations of reality, not fictitious plans. There are the 3 pillars: transparency, inspection, and adaptation. By transparency, we mean presenting the facts as is. Everyone collectively collaborates on that common organizational objective. By inspection, we don't mean inspection by an auditor. It's about openly and transparently sharing our products with the customers, getting that feedback. And if customer provides a feedback that doesn't meet the original requirements, the teams don't complain. Rather, they take it as an opportunity so that they can come up with better solutions. And the final one on adaptation is in the context of continuous improvement, the ability to adapt based on the inspection. So you can see how these 3 relate back to those 4 points of the heart of Agile. You might be aware of the 5 Scrum values. Imagine you're a developer working on delivering a particular feature, and you find something else in the code that's tempting to fix. But fixing it might be a wrong decision. Depending on the situation, attending to this work without consulting the product owner, the product lead, you're undermining the product lead because he's accountable for deciding the most value-added item for the delivery. Instead, a developer in this scenario should consider speaking to the product owner and make sure it gets added to the backlog, and that is focus. Now, imagine if you were in a team where everyone has got great focus, everyone's committed to delivering the common goal, they support each other, they have great respect for one another, and there's a good environment where they can share ideas and challenges together. But what if they lack courage? If a leader comes along and asks for a delivery by a given date, and if the team knows it's unrealistic, what would happen in this scenario? Would anyone succeed? Would the teams manage to deliver? No, right? The teams would fail, and so would the company, right? Because we would fail to deliver. So you can see how each of these Scrum values matter. All of these Scrum values must be embedded in our culture, even when we are working with our partners and our customers. Now think of those 4 words of the heart of Agile: collaborate, deliver, reflect, and improve. Each of these Scrum values is required so we can have a strong collaboration, so that we can deliver right things at the right time, so that we can establish an environment where meaningful reflection can happen, so that we can come up with a strong improvement plan and ultimately have better customer satisfaction. Now, if we look at all these prominent companies, a good percentage of them we interact in our daily lives. Google, Apple, Facebook, some of them listed here are multinational, some are small. But what do they have all in common? They all implemented Scrum. And across the globe, several companies have reported faster time to market, better quality, and obviously company growth through Scrum adoption. And that has been possible through them, through having high Agile maturity in their organization. And this might mean we have to scale Agile to the wider enterprise, not just to be limited to the development teams, but also include our partners and our customers in this journey. Now, even at Avalara, we started from being ad hoc. We moved up the ladder, and we have made great improvements over the last few years, and we are continuing to iterate and improve. Customer satisfaction is supposed to be one of the biggest benefits of agility and Scrum. Think about the example I shared from my previous experience at Optos. Is our Agile adoption limited to development teams? Do we need to scale it to the wider organization, to all functions, even include our partners in this journey? So how do we turbocharge our teams now to Agile 2.0? The first version of Agile involved setting up teams, understanding the principles, learning the framework, but 2.0 involves embedding this into our culture in order to get the true benefits which the other companies were seeing. Now let's take each of those 4 points of the heart of Agile. How do we improve our collaboration? Cross-functional communication with our partners and customers is a key here. Our collaboration shouldn't be just limited to the development teams. I have worked with several teams in the past who have interpersonal conflicts. And what I've learned over the years, that if we switch the mindset to task orientation, focus on that collective goal, and when we achieve successes together, all those interpersonal conflicts go away. The real power of collaboration lies in bringing together different perspectives. Our success about the business is not just about the products that we make, but the partners we work with to make those products. How do we deliver small and soon? Now, high-performing teams have a very mature and strong DevOps pipeline to have automated builds and testing in place. And even within Avalara, there is a big focus to improve our DevOps pipeline. And that would mean our teams don't end up spending time on security patches, bug fixes, and manual workarounds. And having a mature DevOps pipeline would result in more automated process, a more continuous integration process, and we would get benefits like faster time to market, quicker releases, and better quality in finding out issues early in the cycle. Within Avalara, most teams work in fortnightly sprints, and at the end of every fortnight, we would be expecting a product enhancement that we can take to our partners and our customers to get the feedback. We are learning to break down big batches of work so that we can deliver small usable functionality. And in this process, we need to work with our partners and customers so we can understand the priorities and we can make the right decisions. The third point is about reflection. Having discipline is a key here. It's worth calling out that within Avalara, our leadership team have supported us by having an IP sprint, which is like 2 weeks at the end of every quarter, to reflect back on our deliveries, on our processes, and make improvements to get better. And finally, how do we embed improvement in our culture? We need to start measuring how much value is delivered at the end of every sprint. And we're looking at using more data-driven approach in order to implement these improvements. And in a lot of these, we will be collaborating more effectively with our partners and customers so we can deliver more value and reflect and improve in this journey. The golden point for any high-performing team is, which I say to most teams, what matters most is not who's on the team, but how the team works together, who feel accountable not just to that collective goal, but also accountable to each other. It's also to our partners and also to our customers. We have many teams following Scrum, but we need to scale Agile to the full enterprise, fully understand the principles behind Agile, embrace it wholeheartedly to realize the full benefits. And each one of us has a role to play in it. And only when we collectively do this, we will be able to take our companies to the next level of Agile maturity. Thank you for taking the time to join and listen. If you do have any questions, please post it in the chat, and I'll get back to you after the conference. Thank you.